born in Tramonti, a little house in the mountain, far from everything. But then from 3 years old on, I grew up in Isola, as I said before. I came in December, and I became 18 years old in January. So I was practically 18 years old. 1958, December 1958. I arrived here in the United States, New York, December 12th, 1958. My father died when my father was killed in the war when I was 3.5 years old, and I had 2 older sisters. And all my father's relatives, except one, were in the United States. So at one point they wrote to my mother, "Do you want to come over for a visit?" And she did come with the children younger than 18 years old. And I was the only one. The other 2 sisters couldn't come. So I came with my mom, and I'm still here. It was supposed to be a tourist trip, and I want that to be a permanent residence. And my 2 sisters remained in Italy. Do you want to know that? Or?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah, sure.
Remained in Italy, and then after about 2 years, my mother was able to get them to come over. However, my older sister found a boyfriend, and she got married, and she never came. So 1 remained there and 2 here. Well, we lived in a house far away from all the others, where there wasn't even a road going up. It was just a small little path in the dirt. And my father and mother, they had a nice farm, and we lived well. My father also owned a little bit of a cement factory of some kind with another partner. So we did okay, and we were happy there. But July 19, 1944, the German came. They, as you know, the German were at odds with Italy because Italy retreated from, Mussolini got away from Germany, you know that. And so they didn't like that, and they came down, especially where we come from. It was an area that they really pointed, you know, and they were looking for all the men that they could find. Boys, men, anything. So most people went in hiding, but because we lived in the woods, and my father thought that they wouldn't find us, you know, but they did. And they came one morning, and they burned the house. We had no house. And they took my father. They walked him a little bit. And once in a while, he would turn around and look at us as if to say, maybe we make it, maybe not. And they took him a little behind some bushes, you know, so that we wouldn't actually see that. And they killed him. So we had no father, we had no house, we had nothing. We were homeless. And my grandmother lived on the other side of the Taro, which is the river that the valley takes the name from. We couldn't go right away to her because you couldn't travel. So the priest of the town had us living with him for several months. Then we went to Isola. That's where I grew up. And we had a house, we rented. They gave it to us for free, I'm pretty sure. a house that it was really dirt on the floor and all that, but at least there was peace. And then we went to another house that the lady wasn't too nice. We were three girls. We had to stay like this still all the time because God forbid you move, she would get upset. Okay, that's okay. Then at one point, my uncle from America wrote to us that he had a little house there and he offered it to us. And that's when we moved in and we were very happy there. And my mother was making a living by working for people on daily basis, you know, and we had food, never hungry, but a lot of sadness. And my mother was very education conscious. My sister went to college, my first sister, she became a teacher. And both the younger sisters, myself and my sister Alice, went above the obligation, the obligatory grades, if you know what I mean. Then I became a hairdresser. I wanted to do hair. Every time somebody came in the house, I used to take the comb and comb their hair. So that's when it started. I went to a town called Bedonia, and I learned how to be a hairdresser, which I did from the time I came here. I worked in a beauty salon, and I did it for many years. I work in the house. I do my little ladies, you know, they come. I say I have a geriatric
I love it.
They grew old with me. Mm-hmm. We both the same age, and we have a lot in common, and it's fine. I live in the Bronx. I didn't come in the Bronx. I lived in 62nd Street between 1st and 2nd, in the heart of Manhattan, and I loved it. I fell in love in New York. I didn't want to go to sleep. I wanted to stay awake. We got ourselves a little 2-room apartment until my sister came. Then we got a 3-room apartment. And the Upper East Side, 62nd, yeah, in the middle, you know, Upper East Side, yeah. Definitely on the east, yeah. Oh, I like to cook risotto. That's my favorite. With porcini mushroom, I love it.
I love
it. Yeah.
I know how to do it.
Minestrone, I like my minestrone, I like a lot of veggies, you know. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Tortelli, lasagna, you name it. The language was a little hard because, of course, you don't know the language, so sometimes you look stupid or you sound stupid, but that's okay.
We all do.
Yeah, you know, you cannot express yourself, so you know what I'm saying. But it was beautiful. It was, I think, the best time for the United States. You could travel at night. There wasn't, I mean, you always had something to worry about, but it was safe. What can I say? I went to school at night a little bit, and the teachers were wonderful. And on 86th Street, they had dances, and we used to go dancing after the school sometime. It was fun. It was really a lot of fun. And another thing, you found jobs right away then. I went to work in a beauty salon right away. And although I didn't know the language, people were nice. They tolerated me, I suppose. You know. No, I didn't meet. I didn't used to dance. I mean, we went dancing, and if somebody asked me, I did dance. I don't know. Did they ask me all the time, or did they leave me there standing? No, it was fun. Really, it was a lot of fun.
So you like to dance?
I met my husband. I used to like to dance. Yeah, I met my husband in the Catskill Mountain. They had summer resorts that a lot of northern Italian people used to go, and that's where I met him, because my uncle had a little house there near those resorts. So that's where I met him. He's Italian.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's from not far from where I come from, but not enough to know one another. I come from the Val del Taro. He came from La Val del Ceno. They are two rivers that they start in the Monte Penna, one of the Apennine mountain, and they came down. Taro goes to the Po River, the longest one in Italy. And the Ceno, I think it's a subsidiary of the Taro, and then it goes. 3 children, and one died at 30 years old. That's another sad thing. My son died of non-Hodgkin lymphoma. He was married 1 year, and he got sick after not even a year, and he died 18 months after. Now they do a lot with that disease, but at the time, 20 years ago, it was still very hard to beat. Yeah, so I have 2 children now, the one, Andrea, and a daughter.
And they have kids as well? So
Yes, my Andrew has 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. And Adriana, my daughter Adriana, has 2 boys. Yeah. We're going to go to Italy for a vacation July 5th with my daughter and her 2 boys.
Nice. That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah,
So Ray, you go back to your region?
Well,
or you go-
yes, I do, yeah. But my sister lives in a town called Salso Maggiore. Salso Maggiore. It's more in the valley, more in the flatland. And they have, it's a very nice town. Tourism, and it's a fun town. It's interesting, yeah. And then she has a house in the mountain, so in the summer she goes up there, and I go with her. Nice and cool and easier than in the plain, you know, the flat land is hot in the summer. Respect your elders. Well, I'm sure American people believe in the same thing, but the food, of course, it's mainly Italian. To save money a little bit, not to spend it all in one place. No, you know, like my grandson, the older one, is 21 years old, and he got a summer job. So I said, Anthony, save your money a little bit, spend a little, but save it too, because it's going to come handy in the rainy days. You know, that the sense of responsibility. Yes, yes. Well, you see, the Irish had something good going for them, the language. See, the Italian came and they didn't know the English at all. So the Irish, a lot of them became police. So, you know, if you got in trouble, you went to an Irish police if he wanted to help you. If not, oh, you're Italian. Or, but anyway, I'm not up on that. You know, I'm sure I know that there is the mafia, and that's probably how he was born. Because I'm not excusing them, because that's not something that you condone. However, they some of them were frustrated, and that's how it started. You know, oh, we're going to make our own laws. We're going to take care of our own people. You know, that's what they used to say. Sometimes they have ways of settling things that are not the best, but who are we to judge?
Exactly.
Yeah, there were times like that. Yeah, frustration, mainly with the language or with our habits. You know that. You used to doing something and it's not so accepted here. I don't know what it was that stuff like that, you know, but mildly though. I didn't suffer when I got here, I gotta say that. I don't have sad stories to tell when I came here. I had my cousins, I had a lot of nice people around. I met nice people, so it wasn't terrible, really, I have to say. In the late 50s and the early 60s, it was perfect around here, in New York. Enough jobs for everybody. I don't know, people, there wasn't, maybe there were wars around, but it wasn't like now that the times are so bad. It was more relaxed in those days, yeah, yeah. I went to work as a hairdresser and everybody was nice, even if I made some mistakes, but they were still, they were pretty nice people. And my boss was a wonderful person and we got along well. And she was French. She was a lady, French, Jewish. And as we had a lot in common because she was a foreigner as well. Beautiful person, educated, you name it. She was a war bride. And somehow we had a lot in common because we were both from another country. And she was very nice. So I didn't have a hard time, I tell you. I had a hard time when I was growing up in Italy. That was my hard time. Even the latest years of my Italy, they were nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the beginning, when I was a little child, that was bad. Do I speak with my hands? I probably, you know who speaks with my hands? My son, and he was born here. I said, Andrea, if they would tie your hands, you wouldn't be able to talk. I don't know. Maybe I do talk with my hands and whatever. Italy is full of dialects. However, they die now. Now everybody speaks the real Italian, which is very nice. Because when I was growing up, if you were like people from the deep country, you know, and they would come to school in town, they don't know a lot of Italian. They don't spoke dialect, and if they wrote a little diary or a note or an essay, they wouldn't even be understood. They would say dialectal thing, and the teacher probably didn't even know what they were saying. You know.
Yeah.
I'm probably one of those too. There's many times I said a dialectal word that they were not the real Italian, you know, and people would laugh a little bit. But that was okay. Everybody did that. So I spoke with my mother, with my sisters, but with my children, I taught them the real Italian. If they from the very same town, I could speak dialect, but other than that, there's a lot of Southern Italian, a lot of from other towns that I cannot speak my dialect, so I have to speak the real Italian. Oh, in those times, all together, we went to dances, but that was the end of it. Now, I'm not, you know what I mean. I'm not a dancer, if you know what I mean. We just went to mingle, to meet, and so on. There is the Valtaro dance that takes place every year, which I do go and I love, because that gives you the chance to meet all the people that you don't see all year long. That I like that very much, yeah. And also I like it because they do very nice things. The Gabelli Fund, they have scholarships.
Yeah.
And two of my grandsons already have gotten.
Really?
Yes. One went to Maryland University, if it's of any interest, I don't know. And the other one is in Boston University.
In Boston?
And they both got some scholarship from the Gabelli Fund,
Nice.
which I really appreciate.
Okay.
I used to see the river from my town, and nothing really happened in those days in my town. So a big event when the tower would have a lot of subsidiary, like torrents and whatever, and they would become very, very big. And we used to go by the bridge and look at it. Sometimes we used to see a chair or a chicken because the tower would draw things, you know, down, and we would just look to see what the tower is bringing down, you know, flowing down.
From the river.
Yeah, and it would come very close to my house because it got very big sometime in the winter time, because there was a lot of rain and snow that it would melt. And we are not far from the Ligurian region. So Genova was also about 100 kilometers. However, the province is Parma. But we have some influence from the Genovese, some foods like la torta, the torte d'erbe, la torta di spinaci, torta di patate, di zucca. That is, we got that from the Ligurian, even the Parma make it, but I think we got it from them. And the pesto alla Genovese, we use that a lot, yes. And our dialect has some words that are from the Ligurian dialect.
So it's similar.
Yeah, there's a little bit of influence from them, yeah. Oh, non ne so cosa vuoi che dica. C'è tante cose da dire, che Tita è una fiera molto simpatica. E questi giovanotti anche molto bravi, molto carini. Che l'Italia è molto bella, ste venendo a visitare qualche volta. Ne so neanche a me cosa voglio dire, ci sarebbero tante cose da dire, ma mi limito a questo poco. Oh, lo vuoi dire in italiano? Oh, voglio dire che sì, gli italiani sono ospitali, sono brava gente per lo più, hanno i loro difetti, ma cosa vuoi, quelli ce li hanno tutti. Per meglio avere un'idea di come sono italiani è meglio andarci, andarli a vedere, andarli a trovare.